Well, that is it, guys. The final round of the regular season of Super Rugby Pacific is now complete. That means that the fantasy competition has now concluded. There is nothing else to come. The points are going to be locked in and your position is your position. In this video, I'll do the usual review of the round's action, although it will be a bit briefer this week. Then after that, I'll do some broader reflections on the season, what the key moments were, what the key learnings were, as well as which players kind of surprised in terms of how they performed and which ones didn't perform. After that, we'll take a look at the league leaderboard as well for the overall standings, give everyone a shout out. Also take a look at the overall leaderboard as well, because there were some big battles at the top there for the prizes. If you didn't know, the top prize was 10,000, second place 5,000, third place 2,500. There were very intense battles for that first spot as well as for that third spot, so we'll take a little look at that. But for now, let's jump into it, starting with a look at my team. Yeah, went pretty big on Chiefs and Hurricanes this week. My backline filled with both of those teams. Chiefs backs not actually doing that well this week. Kind of surprising considering they put on 41 points against the Highlanders. But yeah, it just wasn't about the outside backs. Tupou Vai, top scorer for the round with 95 points, a 3-try haul. Who would have ever seen that coming? The craziest thing was 2 of those tries would be like the easiest tries he'll ever score in his life. The ball would just kind of fell into his hands when he was in space and he just cantered away to the try line. So a lot of people did have Vai this week as well. I mean, he's been a very solid fantasy pick all year, and just in general, he's been, you know, one of the best locks in the competition as well. So well done if you had Vai to close it out. Carter and Stevenson were a bust for me. Even McKenzie only got 40 points. A lot of people making him captain this week just to play it safe. The next game after that was the Brumbies versus the Crusaders. Mostly faded this game, fearing that it would be a bit of an arm wrestle. And it kind of was, in that it was very much focused on the forwards battle and dominating that game line. But at the same time, it was very high pace and very open with a lot of running as well. So yeah, pretty high scoring game in the end, 31-33. Crusaders actually got off to a pretty hot start. They were quite far ahead by about the halfway mark. They were really dominating those collisions early on, getting very fast ruck speed, but the Brumbies, they made the right adjustments at half time. They just started coming off the line a bit quicker, which really helped them stymie the go forward for the Crusaders, and they came all the way back into the game, came from behind. They actually took the lead, and then controversially, yeah, Crusaders took the lead back with a try, but there was a knock on by Sevu Reece in the build-up, which was quite clear. I did notice it in first time, real time as well. So yeah, a lot of upset Australian fans over that one. Fair enough, but yeah, ultimately it was just a fine margins game. Like anything was gonna tip it one way or the other. And yeah, no Crusaders or Brumbies players for me. They did not really feature in the top dozen or so players as well. We did get Reihana and Leo Willie doing quite well though. And yeah, Reihana, he's been like a pretty solid pick ever since Camera went out and he replaced him. After that, we had Blues versus the Waratahs. Blues just completely crushing them, 46-6. And kind of a strange sort of game in that, I mean, it wasn't a surprising result to see the Blues really get away from the Waratahs in the end. But yeah, the Blues, they had that terrible phase play that's been characteristic of them all year. Just very, very slow ruck speed, being forced into making kicks, chasing bombs, and just not getting the ball back. But almost all of their points, they came almost exclusively from set piece strike plays, specifically from the scrum. So yeah, it's just really odd to see a team struggling in phase play so much, rack up so many points. And in particular, they racked them up with the backs as well. I mean, with the Blues this year, we've seen them getting most of their points through their forwards from just grinding away at close range, playing that sort of around the corner game. But no, this game, most of their points came from the backs. And I mean, look who's here in 4th place for the round score. Rieko Ioane with 73 points, got a triple, 3 tries. This is from a guy who's had an average of 21 points for the year. Like, this is not something, I don't think this is something anybody was expecting for the last round. He left it late, Rieko, but finally he got some points. Mark Tiller as well, doing pretty well with 58. Not a huge outside back score, but pretty good considering this round. Bowden Barrett down at 55. So yeah, I was loaded up on Blues forward. I went for the all Blues front row. Did pretty well for me. Riccatelli, very good as usual. He's definitely been the best hooker for the season. Marcel Renata again coming away with 39 in this back end of the season. He's been very strong and he's been good on the park as well, not just in fantasy. Futatua getting 30 points, bit of a muchness. Hoskins only coming away with 32, so yeah, strange game. Blues dominant, but not so much through the forwards for the point scoring, but instead the points coming through the backs. Definitely not what I expected. After that, we had the Hurricanes absolutely steamrolling Moana Pacifica. And I mean, maybe not too surprising. I mean, I thought Moana would put up more of a fight, but there was always a chance that this could happen, you know, that Moana might sort of crumble a bit mentally, especially if they conceded early on, and that did happen. And yeah, the Hurricanes are dangerous, man. Like, they're just a very hard team to stop from creating things. But yeah, my picks in the Crusaders not doing so well. Balin very quiet. Ruben only 28 points. Proctor very good as usual. Roygaard 35 points. I mean, can't complain for a halfback, but by Roygaard standards, yeah, he's definitely done better. And the surprise was a lot of the points they went to Peter Umaga Jensen. Got 2 tries, but just carried like a beast all night, hitting sort of soft shoulders and busting through seemingly every time he got the ball. These Umaga Jensen guys, man, they're solid. Like, yeah, they're real. They just carry well. Proctor was second after him on 57 points. Adi Sevilla still doing pretty well in a pretty dire losing effort, coming away with 57 points. So that just caps off what has been possibly the greatest season by any back rower ever, man. Like, Adi Sevilla, he stood up, especially in this back end of the season. He put the team on his back and carried them to heights that no one was expecting or really could have imagined. So shout outs to you, Artie. And then lastly, we had a bit of a dead rubber match. Not much on the line here. Reds versus the Drua. And yeah, I mean, I did think the Drua would probably get a severe hiding here. I mean, playing away with nothing to play for, the Drua, they do suffer in that type of setup. Only thing that I thought might contain it was the rain, but that was not what happened at all. It was raining pretty badly, but it was also raining tries for the Reds. And yeah, Lockie Anderson, 85 points. He got 4 tries this game. He was just running them in constantly, one after the other. And it's kind of surprising that he only got 85 points as well. You'd think with that amount of tries, you'd be cracking 100, but no. Only 85 for Lockie Anderson. I was really skeptical on picking Reds this week, even though I thought it might blow out. I don't like that back three at the Reds, but they all did pretty well. Jock Campbell doing well at 58 as well. So yeah, they would have been very solid picks. Canham and Wilson doing surprisingly poorly. only 21 points, even though a lot was going on for the back row for the Reds. And just reflecting on my season as a whole, I end up with 69 points. Pretty disappointing for me overall, to be honest. And I think where the season really went wrong for me was just getting the wrong read on the fixtures week to week. Like a lot of these games were really unpredictable, and from the start of the season, like if you'll remember those first 5 rounds, every week everyone's commenting like, wow, there's so many upsets, so many surprise results. And I just kept expecting the season to settle back into its regular sort of power structure, where the usual teams come right and go to the top, and then the weaker teams go to the bottom, and then you get these sort of mismatches where those top teams, they play the lower teams and really just give them a complete bollocking. And I kept jumping the gun on anticipating that and buying players from those teams that I thought would be strong and I thought would steamroller those weaker oppositions and get a lot of points. But yeah, just the season, it kind of settled like that, but it happened late, and it never truly settled. Like, there would still be some major upsets to come, thinking about Moana taking out the Crusaders in Christchurch, or the Waratahs taking out the Chiefs in Sydney. Like, yeah, things never truly settled. And the way I approached this fantasy game, my strategy was just to identify the matchups where big scores are going to be put on, and just load up on players who will be in position to score those points, which usually is the backs for those teams that are going to go big. And then yeah, just let the points roll in. But quite often I would get that pick wrong. I'd go big on a team and they'd just flub in that matchup. And those two matchups are classic examples of what I was talking about. I'd go big on those teams, and those players would end up being a real bust that week. And I did play quite risky with my captaincy sometimes as well. I mean, I did my fair share of captaining DMAC, to be honest, like probably most people did, but I was also quite often inclined to just bet on an outside back, and that is a little bit risky, especially the wingers more so than the fullbacks. And yeah, quite often I'd end up captaining a winger in one of those matchups where they turned out to be a total bust. So yeah, that is one of the major ways I think the season went wrong for me. Probably the second way as well was maybe sort of overthinking some picks a little bit, getting maybe a little bit cutesy at times, just going for an outside pack hero there, which was a player that wasn't really, a potent try-scoring player, right? Like picking wingers that weren't really strong just because they were in a matchup that I liked, or yeah, even non-wingers as well. Like I'm thinking about picking Kane Tarteka from the Force when Tazana was out, thinking that, the Force were going to get a bunch of more tries against the Endure in Fiji, and that never happened. And I didn't do it that often, but I did do it here and there. And I think when you have a season that's playing out like this one, where it is a bit unpredictable in terms of the fixtures, where you are getting a lot of upsets, or just, whenever the power hierarchy of the teams isn't super clear, I think the best way to play is just stick to the solid players, the players with the high averages, the guys who are tried and true. And I mean, that's always a good way to play fantasy anyway, especially in a game like this where the budget cap was not a constraint at all. There's nothing, you never had to worry about it any week. You could just pick all the players that you wanted and you'd get them. So yeah, in those sort of conditions, yeah, the best way to play is just to pick the solid players, the known quantities, the good players with the high averages. That'll get you like 95% of the way there. And that extra 5% is sort of having that little bit of extra foresight where you can pick that player who is going to do well but isn't on the radar, and that's because maybe they're coming back from a long layoff or an injury or something, or they're changing into a good position. But yeah, I mean, that would have been the optimal strategy, I think. Just playing it kind of straightforward with that, and then just trying to pick that little bit of extra sauce at the margins, rather than trying to lean heavily into matchups as much as I did. And yeah, if we look at the total points scored, the top total points scored from all players, all positions for the year, I mean, we always knew D-Mac, he was going to be the guy, right? Like at Super Rugby level, he is the man. Just the way he plays, ball in hand, that is so good for fantasy. He's always got that attacking mindset. Cam Roigard, I mean, we knew he was going to be like the guy in the halfback slot, but I did not expect him to get to second position for the whole thing. I mean, a lot of this total points just does come down to minutes played, but still a lot of these players were the guys that we thought would be good. Sevu Reece, he was really one of my favorite picks as well. Again, just the way he plays, comes off his wing, gets the ball, goes for a run, really kind of gritty player, perfect for fantasy. And yeah, he was really great early on. He was my guy, got a lot of points for me. He did kind of fall off a bit in the middle of the season. He got switched to center where he suffered, and then after that they had some kind of tough New Zealand matchups, and I picked that pretty well, to be honest. I got off the Reece train at the right time and sort of got back on it near the end here. Ardie Savea, honestly, I thought he would struggle this year going to Moana. I thought Moana would struggle. He would struggle with them. I thought that there's no way that one player can just make that much of a difference for a team. And I mean, you got to give credit to the rest of the team as well. I mean, the rest of the back row was pretty good, but yeah, he was absolutely exceptional this year. And yeah, I did not anticipate that. I was pretty late getting onto the Ardie train, although to be fair, I mean, yeah, he hadn't necessarily been putting up huge scores for the first half of the season, at least not consistently. Tabatama Nawai, I mean, this is kind of maybe one of the biggest tragedies from a fantasy perspective, that he got stuck in the back three, even though he played 12 most of the year. If he played 12, I mean, he would have been the best pick, man. He was so solid all year, and he seemed to just take it up another level again at the back end of the season, ending up with 72 points. And yeah, I mean, he's had a great year, man. Like, just with ball in hand, he's just so effective. It's crazy. He's really pushing a claim for a back jersey. Don't know if he'll get it, but I mean, it'd be kind of fun to see. Harry Potter, another guy I never really saw coming, 546 points. Put up a lot of minutes this year, played virtually, well actually, yeah, looks like he played every single game except this Drua game, which is probably the one game where he would have gone really, really well. But Tom Wright, Corey Toole, Andy Muirhead, that Brumbies back three, like, I'm not surprised to see all three of them up here. They were really solid. Every single one of them just played well this year. You never knew which way the points were going to go with them, but you knew one of them was going to be there or thereabouts. I'm a big fan of Corey Toole though, man. Just that extra bit of pace that he has, like, that just gives him an edge over everyone else. Carlo Tizzano, he was a guy I expected to do well. He was pretty good last year, very strong player, but even then I didn't expect them to do this well, right? Just got all these maul tries, but there was so many of them as well. Top try scorer for Super Rugby, so that's the record for a forward as well in Super Rugby. So shout outs to Carlo Tizzano. Will Jordan, I mean, I kind of had him glued to Sevu Reece when I was picking him. Whenever I felt one was on, the other was on. That was mostly true, but yeah, Jordan falls off down the list a bit just because he got injured at the back end of the season. Leroy Carter was not a guy on my radar going into the season. Well, that's not entirely true, to be honest. I mean, I always, I knew him from sevens, but yeah, and ever since that first game in round 1 against the Blues, where he was really finding a lot of space where there wasn't much on offer, he impressed me. From then on, he became probably my favorite pick in the Chiefs back 3. And in the end, that did actually prove out. He ended up with the highest average and the highest points. Miracle Failangi, he was a surprise for me. He wasn't on my radar at the start or before the season started, but he was on my radar very quickly. I watched this Force game, and if you go back and sort of watch my previews back then, I was saying like he actually played better than Artie that game, which was true at the time. And of course Artie, he came good through the middle of the season and took things to a whole new level. But yeah, Miracle Failangi, great fantasy pick and just had a great season in general. Beauden Barrett, well, yeah, you'd think he would do well this year. I think a lot of people expected the Blues to be a lot more competitive this year than they were, but that was not the case. So I suppose it's a bit of a surprise to see him this far down. But yeah, he was still an excellent choice in fantasy. Now, if we come over to the leaderboards, I will show you guys our league's leaderboard and give everyone a shout out. But before we do that, I want to show you guys the overall standings for the leaderboard, because like I mentioned at the start, there were some good battles here. A battle between first and second for the top spot, and a battle between third and fourth for $2,500 for that third slot. If you get fourth, you get nothing. And there was actually a switch here between third and fourth. Harry's team pulling ahead of Ada Bay, who goes back to fourth place and ends up with nothing. And yeah, like Harry's team started off same Chiefs picks as me. Stevenson and Carter also loaded up on Hurricanes as well. Balin, Finiang and Offo did not fly for him. But if we look at Ada Bay here, did a lot better. Had the Talia pick, had the Sevu Reece pick. They were quite strong. But look, there's only a 3-point difference between these two, and where the difference happened, they both had Satutu and Adi Sevilla, but Harry's team had Josh Canham and Fraser McWright 29 and 36 respectively. Ada Bay had Wanga and Harry Wilson 7 and 21. So yeah, this match, it went all the way down to that final game, Reds versus the Endure. Both these guys would have just been sweating the performances on these two players, Harry Wilson and Wanga. And yeah, who would have thought that, Fraser McWright would outdo Harry Wilson by 15 points. Fraser McWright, fantastic player, has been a great fantasy pick all year, but generally in that Reds back row, like Harry Wilson has gone a bit better than Fraser, but now in the last round, when it counted the most, Fraser was the one to come out ahead and really clutched it out for Harry's team. Also, a bit of a shout out to the front row as well. Harry's team, he had the Marcel Renata pick, and like I kept saying, Renata's been really strong at the back end of the season ever since he came back from injury, getting in that high 30s quite often scoring tries as well. And Ada Bay went for the Tamaiti Williams pick, but no, it was all about the forwards bringing Harry's team home. And then for the number 1 spot, we had Cal7, a viewer of the channel and Com Talks Rugby, not a viewer of the channel as far as I'm aware. And yeah, there was a 14-point difference here. 10,055 plays 10,069. And if we look at Cal's team, got off to a bit of a rocky start. Had the Carter and Stevenson picks like me. Did not do that well. Combs Talk Rugby had Carter, but also had Jonah Lowe and Ruben Love. Didn't do that much better in the outside backs in the grand scheme of things. Both players had D-Mac as the captain. Both players had the same midfield and halfback as well. And if we look at the back rows, Artie and Hoskins, very popular this week. Satiti for Cal 7. Com Talks Rugby, Hoskins, Artie went for the Harry Wilson pick as well, but also Com, he had the Tupo Vai pick this week of all weeks in the final round. There was an 80-point difference between these two players going into this round, right? Cal was about 80 points ahead of Com. Maybe a little bit less, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. That Chiefs game, that was the first game of the round. Tupo Vai's 95 points just completely evaporated that margin instantly. And yeah, just turned this round into a massive sweat for Cal. Like, I mean, who would have picked it, right? Tupo Vai coming away with 95 points. Com doing the same thing as me up front as well, going for that all blues front row. Cal had the Tamaiti Williams pick, which lost him a little bit of points there. Also had Nick Frost as his second lock, parallel to Wanga. But yeah, this game, it came down to the last matchup, Reds versus the Endrua. Both players had Wanga, and Com had Harry Wilson as well. So it was all about how Harry Wilson went this game. Fortunately for Cal, like Wilson, he just never found his way to the try line, unfortunately. He couldn't keep up with Mick Wright. And yeah, I mean, 14-point margin of Harry Wilson. If he had got over that line, if he got over that try line, that would have done it. That would have done it by 1 point. But no, Cal, he manages to hold on. So well done to you, Cal. You held on through the back end of the season. You got made to sweat a bit all the way up to the last moment, but you got there, mate. So really happy for you. Really happy to see a viewer make it, and I hope you enjoy that 10 grand, buddy. You earned it. Now finally taking a look at my league, time to give everybody a shout out. Obviously, Cal 7 won the whole thing. Of course, he won our league as well. So shout outs to you, Cal, for that. Snapper Hodgin coming in second place, 98.57 points. I believe this guy was very high on the leaderboard as well, but couldn't quite make it into contention for that top 3. But very good effort by you, Snap Hodgin, if that's how you say your name, I'm not sure. Laker Luca, third place, another player who's often featured near the top of our round leaderboards. Did pretty well at the back end of the season, I think. So well done to you, Laker Luca. Jaro, another name I saw quite a bit. Oz Derbs was top of the round last week, I believe. Wow, look at this. Ratamata Vicky Netkins and Tava Nawai picks going into that Chiefs matchup, and kind of worked out, to be honest. Also went for the Corey Evans pick as well. Not a lot of people doing that this week. I think a lot of people going for the Balin Sullivan pick, but Corey Evans worked out to be a lot better, and going for a Roygaard captain as well. Not a bad choice considering the amount of points that were put on in this game. Yeah, maybe a little bit unfortunate not to get more. Monty's Monsters kicked, another player we've seen quite a bit. Odie's FFN, I believe I've seen you in the comments. You might be far north in the YouTube comments. If so, shout outs to you. Whereabouts in the far north are you from? I am also in the far north. Ramo, 9,400 points. Tom Wright kind of interesting there. Murray Tosso Tosso, another player I think who's been there for a long time. Zane Nongo pick, shout out for that one. Oleg Anus Tat, very funny name, I love it. Bill Bags. A couple of people going for the Devry pick this week. Wasn't really on my radar, so kind of interested to see that. But yeah, it did kind of work out. He got a try, and obviously there was an opportunity to get a lot more in that game. Gerasmus Matua, another name I've seen pop up quite a lot in the league. Went for the Taumoefalau pick, kind of interesting. Maybe anticipating Moana getting a bit more of a run in that game. It did not work out. GTADR, another name I've seen quite a lot. Went for the tool pick. Okay, interesting. Richie Asiata doing okay. Another Satiti pick as well. Yeah, Wallace Satiti, one of those players that, I mean, he came back late in the season. He hasn't had much game time, but yeah, hasn't necessarily fired in terms of fantasy Super Rugby. Phil NZ takes 18th. Mudtracker takes 19th. Had a co-captain in his pocket. Saved it for the last round. Went for DMAC Artie. Pretty solid. Yeah, unfortunately DMAC didn't fire, but yeah, pretty solid picks for you. Polly in 20th place. Also a co-captain in waiting as well. Went for Ruben Love. Yeah, could have gone a bit better. And a low max pick, a player that we didn't see get picked that often. And D-Man Destroyer, shoutouts to you. I know you were pretty active in the comments. And went for the Teni Nanai Satura pick. I like that. Actually worked out pretty decently this week, given that a lot of the more higher rated players didn't really fire. Lagana Marcy only getting 0 points this week. Is that a bug? I mean, he was playing. Maybe he didn't get the ball that often though, to be honest. And I think when he did, he like lost it and got penalized. So yeah, but unfortunate on that one. And yeah, guys, that'll do it. That'll do it for Fantasy Super Rugby this year. This is the final video I will make on the topic. I will likely be back next year though, 95% chance. And I think I will be picking up this video series again then. Probably will still be putting out some videos on this channel though, just about rugby things in general. I will continue previewing the playoff games to come if you've been one of the people who watches those, but I know most of you were just coming here for the fantasy content. So if I don't see you for the rest of the year, hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. So I'll see you then and have a good year.